Pull up a stool and pour yourself a pint as you're about to join three intrepid drinkers, Kevin, Justin, and Mark, as they embark on another Beertastic voyage.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Beertastic Voyage. My name is Kevin.
I am Justin.
Hi, Kevin. I am Mark, and it sounds like you took some caffeine pills.
No, I did not. I had just woken up from a little nap before we were recording the previous episode, and now that I've got a little liquid courage in me, I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to get going for the day.
I thought you were going to start, basically doing the Gonads and Stripe video from back in the day.
Oh my god.
Motherfucker, wee!
No, I'm not that jacked up. I just now I'm ready to go. And plus, today we have a style spotlight on one of my favorite styles. And coming into the warm weather, I'm really excited to highlight Goses.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of them as well, as long as they are at least somewhat adhered to the actual
idea of what it's supposed to be.
Right, the style. Like when you have something that's like 7% alcohol and you call it a Gose, like that's right out.
Well, I don't know. This is a style that I've had a couple times before and I like them, but I really have no idea about the guidelines for it and what it's supposed to be.
Oh, I know, but
so I'm excited to hear that info also.
The one that I like to shit on is the Southern Tier Cherry Gose, which
oh my god,
is fucking horrendous. And I bought a 6-pack of it, and it became one of those beers where I don't know, I feel like at least 4 months.
You were just trying to pawn it off on people?
I was leaving it at people's parties, and the next time somebody had a party, somehow that bottle would migrate over to that party.
You would open that bottle and you were like, wait a second, I don't have a cold. I don't need Robitussin. You're like, and it tasted like it had a harsh alcohol.
It was just it was not good. It was, way too strong alcohol-wise, which might not be a bad thing, but then the cherry and just
the cherries were grown in the lab.
Way too much salt. Way too much salt.
Too much salt on it.
Yeah. Huge grains of salt.
But, so this one, I don't think we have any that are super salty, but, so we have one from Avery Brewing Company called El Gose, which is from Boulder, Colorado. One of the Distill Wild Sour series called Here Goes Nothing. That is out of Normal, Illinois. And our local guys at work, again, Blue Point Brewing Company, with their Beach Plum Gose. And when I initially saw this one out in the stores, I immediately sent a picture of it to Mark saying that after he had cultured that Beach Plum yeast, that I'm like, clearly, Mark, you have your finger on the pulse of the craft brewing industry on the island. You knew beach plums were where to go.
That was the new thing. Beach plums were the new black.
But
we have 3 of them poured out.
We have the 3 of them poured out. The only one of these 3, I have not had the beach plum one. I have had the Here Goes a Nothing from Distill. And I just want to get out right in the front and say that we've had the blueberry one.
Yeah.
I remember we experienced it at one of the
Belmont.
At one of the festivals, and we were raving about it.
It was crazy good.
So to be able to find it and have it a couple times since then, all the ones out of their Wild Sour series I think are really delicious.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the series as a whole.
I don't think I've had anything other than those from Distill, but
I think I've had 1 or 2 other things, but I couldn't tell you what beers those were.
And as I usually do, as soon as I talk about a particular variety, I try to think of other ones that I've had that I really like, and I'm going to mention the Westbrook Gose.
That's like a slam dunk. If you want to try this style, before we've had these, of course.
Yeah.
That's the one. Drink that, and if you like that, you like Goses.
Yeah.
Or if you're looking for another local option, Spider Bite does the very good. It goes in your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, for some people,
right. It goes in your mother?
Yes. No, it doesn't.
No.
Doesn't fit.
What?
That's the right way to start a fight in a bar.
So, I think the history of the Goses are pretty interesting. From what I understand, this is off the top of my dome entirely. It was basically a dead style. Right?
It was, yeah. It died out in 1966. The last brewery that was producing it in I think Leipzig, Germany,
Okay.
shut its doors, and it was
Really?
functionally dead for
20 years or 30
yeah,
years?
close to 20 years. And
Wow.
in the 1980s, craft brewers like came across like old records and descriptions of the beer, and they're like, that sounds pretty tasty. I want to try making one of those, and
Absolutely.
it's just been gaining popularity since then. I think, aside from Berliner Weiss, like chances are there's a local brewery near you that's making a Gose.
Right. So, like I know Berliner Weiss is, and so Goses are also, they're both kettle sour beer, correct?
They don't necessarily have to be, like, traditionally, I don't think they were made in that way, but it is a safer way to produce them in a production brewery
Okay.
where you don't have to worry about cross-contamination
All right.
with your other beers from the lactobacillus bacteria.
On top of that, I think you can more reliably get the tartness you're looking for.
Right, that's
always
That's another good point.
You
Yeah.
got to get the consistent production out of it.
Right.
So, could you guys one of you guys give me a quick refresher on kettle souring? Because I've never done it, and I know you two have.
Yeah, so kettle souring is one of the most foolproof ways of.
For those not watching, there were air quotes involved.
Yeah. I feel like, honestly, I feel like people could read.
Yeah, I think they could
I
have
heard
heard
a
that.
squeak.
Yeah.
Air quotes.
Of reliably producing a beer with a pH that's down in the threes, so like the lower threes.
Okay.
I think most beer finishes after fermentation. I think most beer finishes in like the 4 to 4.5 pH range.
Yeah.
So the lower the pH number goes, for those that are unaware, it means that the liquid is progressively more acidic.
Okay.
It's a logarithmic scale, so that means the difference between 3.2 and 3.3.
Is a factor of 10, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Look at that.
Woo! Look at the big brains on Brad. I love pulling that one out.
There you go. Considering I can barely do arithmetic, to know that that's what that means, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
So from a process standpoint, the idea would be to brew your beer like you normally would, boil it briefly to make sure that there's nothing else going on in there.
Kill any other.
Yeah.
Right, because there's a plethora of microorganisms that are living on the grain, so you want to either pasteurize or briefly boil the collected wort
Okay.
after the mash to make sure that there's nothing came along for the ride from the grains.
Right, and then at that point,
But the mashing process wouldn't do that on its own.
no.
No, it doesn't get hot enough.
When you boil it to the mash, like it doesn't do that.
You generally don't boil the mash.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you can tell how many times I've done.
I mean, there are times where like there are certain mash methods where you will take a portion of the
That's
whole,
a decoction method.
Right,
yeah.
You bring it out, you boil it, you dump it in.
right, or
Okay.
you could also do it with a cereal mash where you're using like corn or rice or something like that,
Okay.
where you basically have to take those adjunct grains
Mm-hmm.
and boil them separately in order to gelatinize the starch molecules,
Okay. Yeah.
so that the
makes sense.
enzymes from the barley and other malts can actually work on them to break them down into simple sugars.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take this mash, you're gonna boil it just enough to
Like-
pasteurize
Like
it. Like
20 minutes.
okay, just a couple minutes. Yeah.
And then you're going to cool it down to somewhere between 100 and 120. What do we do for
That's
when
still
we do?
pretty warm, right?
We held it at 110.
Yeah.
That's still pretty warm though, right?
It is, but that's because lactobacillus bacteria, it's
Which is what you want in this now, right?
right. It prefers it warm, generally between 100 and 120 degrees.
So
But
you got a guest coming over, so you got to set it up so that how the
Right.
guest likes it.
Right.
Gotcha.
So
and it depends upon which species of lactobacillus that you're using, where their preferred temperature range is. So
Okay.
if you're a home brewer and you want to look into this, go to the Milk the Funk wiki and read their sour wording article. It'll give you all the breakdown on this, and you'll find links to their pages on lactobacillus where they tell you, like, all right, the Swanson's probiotic pills have this strain, and this is the preferred.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know you've
They
talked
are
about
really
that
six.
before.
they're
Yeah.
unbelievably fucking insane. Like, I
That's
cannot
awesome.
believe the level of dedication they have to it. It's unreal. and I've only like delved into a little bit of it. And then I find myself reading more about it, and with my obsessive nature, I'm like, now let me do the regular brewing shit for a while before I go down this rabbit hole and lose my whole life to this, and start having like plates in my kitchen, like start doing slants of fucking bacteria. My whole life will be gone. Basically, there's only 4 more refrigerators in my house.
What is this? This is the lab. I have isolated all these cultures.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna come downstairs. I'm gonna look like Rick from Rick and Morty, and she'll be
the CDC is going to be knocking on your door.
Yeah.
Listen, that's actually plague. Like,
Right.
you can't have that.
Yeah, how'd you get that off Plum Island? So, so at this point, you're going to pitch, a relatively pure lactobacillus strain of your choice, and you're going to hold that temperature. We have both an electric setup, so it's easy for us to hold a specific temperature. And for a certain period of time. And that time is really dependent upon how acidic you want it to get.
Okay.
It's basically a 2-taste as far as the recipe goes. You'll let the lacto work on it. It's going to sour.
So the longer you let it hang out, the
lower the
lower
pH is going to drop.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
That's pretty straightforward.
To a point, of course. I mean,
it's going to reach a terminal.
It'll get to a point where
the acidity
the pH
kills
drops.
itself.
Right. The pH drops so low that the lacto ends up killing itself.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Suicide
train. So with what we did, I think we let it go for 12 hours or so, something like that.
I think it was a little more than that.
So in that process, how often did you guys taste it?
Never.
You just tried it at 12 hours and said,
We just showed up at 12.
Yeah.
Whatever we said we were meeting, we showed up and tasted it. We're like, all right, whatever. This is done.
This is good. All right.
We did measure the pH with a really shitty pH meter, and it was basically no discernible drop. However, flavor-wise, you could tell it had definitely moved. So I needed a better pH meter, which I purchased yesterday.
Okay.
But that's the general idea of kettle souring. It's really fairly straightforward when you have the equipment available to do it.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem completely unable to be done like in the home.
Oh no,
Yeah,
definitely.
It seems like really approachable to home brewing.
And the reason why it's so popular amongst craft brewers is it allows them to create some sour beer offerings because there are people like us that really love them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, like the turnaround time, it's only like an extra 12 hours from their like normal brew day.
Right, which is nothing in compared to the months of souring for other things.
Right, for a mixed culture fermentation.
Yeah, whole space in your house, etc.
Right.
So kettle souring is definitely. I'm sure that all of these were kettle soured. I'd be shocked if any of them were done another way. Especially with how tart a Gose is. I think, like I said, it's probably one of the only ways to reliably get the level of tartness that you need for a real Gose.
All right. So we touched on what a Gose is. We touched a little bit on the process. Do we have some more history of it? Like other than that, it went defunct for a little while. Prior to that, do we kind of know where it came from?
Well, it originated in Goslar, Germany, which is on the Gose River.
Okay.
And I believe that the reason the salt character is in the beer is actually because the Goslar River is actually kind of brackish.
Is it that far north in Germany?
It's near the
Baltic
Arctic.
Sea?
Baltic? Yeah, geography. I don't know.
I think it's called Baltic.
It's a sea. And for those of you who don't know what brackish means, it's a mixture of salt and fresh water.
Okay.
Kind of like the Everglades.
I was going to make them go to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
I'm a better person than Mark.
So F them and the A.
But I believe that's originally where the salt character came from in the beer.
Interesting.
And, it's became so incorporated into the style.
Right.
That, when brewers are making it now, that they add a bit of salt to it just to get the, it definitely enhances the taste, but it also has like amplifies the drying effect of the acidity on the palate, I think.
Yeah, it definitely does. So in general, when we're looking for a Gose, I know that they're straw colored, etc. What are the specific stats that you're going to get from the Gose as far as the BJCP is concerned?
So the BJCP says 5 to 12 IBUs. I mean, it's very possible.
That's really low. That's like almost.
Yeah, I mean,
that's almost like we have to just put some in here.
Right,
Oh,
only
it's like
beer
a raw
colored
beer,
beer, exactly.
basically.
Well, no, it's more of a legal
Oh,
definition.
right. Good point.
Like there's hops in there, so therefore we can call it beer.
Right. I don't, you know, I'm kind of suspect of even there being that much in the way of IBUs in it. The ABV is in the 4.2 to 4.8 range, so it's a little bit stronger than Berliner Weiss.
Right,
in
but
that regard.
still in the sessionable range.
Yes.
It's funny you should bring up Berliner Weiss because I was reading in the history portion of the BJCP thing that apparently back in the day they even added the syrups to Goses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kind of like in addition to Berliner Weisses.
I can
Gotcha.
see that. I can see how they're so close in style that you want to do that you could probably create some cool.
Well, the other thing was, I mean, myself included, I always look back on shit and you're like, oh, you know, they crafted things a certain way back then. Nah, they had some shit in the bar and they were like, oh yeah, we have a ton of Gose and no Berliner Weiss, so let's put the syrup in this and tell them it's a Berliner Weiss, and then people like it and you're like, oh wait, no, it's a Gose with the syrup.
Yeah.
So that's probably more like what happened.
Yeah, exactly. We had extra, so we did this.
Yeah.
Right. The color range for it is going to be in the 3 to 4 SRM, which is like straw to yellow.
In typical historical fashion, the BJCP has like the ranges for shit is right next to each other. Like you feel like it's almost impossible to make a beer that specifically fits this.
All right.
So, and then the other ingredient that is required for a Gose that we haven't touched on yet is coriander.
Right.
Okay.
Do you have any idea why coriander?
I honestly
for a long
don't.
time.
It gives it a hint of citrus.
Yeah.
So is it coriander the seed or is it coriander the
seed.
plant? Like the part of the plant? The plant is cilantro, right?
Yes.
And when it
In
goes
America, and
right, and then when it goes to seed, it becomes coriander.
well, the seeds themselves are coriander,
Okay. I thought like it
unless you're in the UK, and then everything is coriander.
makes sense. They always try to make things difficult. You know, call everything the same thing, drive alongside the road, tax us into submission,
I have to add U's to words that don't need them.
color,
Yeah.
armor.
Okay, so let's get to drinking.
All right,
The first one on our list is the Avery El Gose. And this is it's a sour. This one has lime and sea salt.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that they probably ditched the coriander on this one for lime, essentially. But maybe they didn't.
Well, this one has to be closer to 2.
Oh, this is like straw all that.
Yeah. It is the most pale straw color out there, and you know, if you see your urine this color, then you're well hydrated, so you're doing okay. You know, doctor's not going to be yelling at you.
So this comes in at 4.5% alcohol by volume.
I don't get a lot on the nose. Do you?
When I first poured it, I did. We had poured these out a little bit ago, probably 15 minutes ago.
Even when we first poured them out, I didn't get much in there.
Really? I got a bunch of lime when we first poured it.
Yeah, I get a little bit more once I shake it up a bit, but there's still not a ton. It's a little bit
Yeah. Okay.
of lime, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not the dominant. Well, I can't say dominant because they really just not all that aromatic.
No, I mean, any aromatics there are basically for me at least, the lime. Flavor-wise, I mean, you get a really solid tartness, but not as tart as a lot of Goses I've had.
It's not intense tartness.
No.
It's there, but it's not intense. And I don't pick up a lot. I don't get that kind of lick your lips saltiness
I think
on this one.
Yeah, for me, the lime is more powerful than the salt. And I really think they're going for, the margarita situation, which I think that they crush. I think
Yeah, they
it's
go-
very tasty.
Yeah, I think they get that margarita flavor, almost like an even lighter version of a Corona and lime.
Yes.
You know, if you can imagine lighter than that, like it's even lighter than that.
Minus the background skunk.
Yes, the background skunk, and also with the addition of salt. Because there's definitely salt there, but it's not. Again, I think for all of us, at least definitely for me, the Westbrook Gose to me is the standard Gose. When I taste one, I compare it to that to see how close to a Gose it is in my mind, at least.
Right.
And this one is salt wise is not even in the ballpark.
Right.
Well, and that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. Like, when the salt is done properly and it's just there to accentuate the flavors that are present and it doesn't become the flavor.
Right. I don't think it needs to be. I don't want it to be the flavor of it, but I do kind of like it when it stands out a little bit in the profile. Does that make sense?
No,
Like,
that's fair.
I want it to be identifiable.
Yes.
Clearly there, so that because I kind of like that. Like I'm a salt and vinegar, potato chip guy. Like I like to be able to have the salt and be licking my lips afterwards and be like, salt. Like I like that. Like I'm an idiot like that. But you know exactly, Justin. You cannot laugh at me right now because I know you know.
I
exactly
know.
what I'm
I
talking
know. You're not laughing because of what you explained. I'm asking you the way that laughing because of the way you explained
Okay,
it.
good.
Yeah,
Right.
it was explained perfectly.
Okay.
There was nothing wrong with it.
Good.
It was really funny. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I understand.
We have a guest here today. It's Mike Tyson.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I was going to say that reminds me that apparently Amazon Prime is like rebooting Rocky and Bullwinkle.
No fucking way, really?
Really?
Do you think they're gonna do it like old school legit, or do you think it's gonna be like?
No, I watched the trailer for it.
Oh,
They it's definitely the animation style definitely rings true to like the old
Okay.
60s.
Yeah, I like that.
Really.
That's cell animation.
Right. Yeah. With
Okay.
the less fluid
I
movement.
can't wait to see how they do the Baron. I love that guy.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
that just happened to remind me of that.
Makes sense. That's exciting news.
Boris, we must get this moose and squirrel.
Boris had enough.
All right.
So the second one we have is
we gotta rate this.
Oh,
bitch.
we do have to rate it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm rushing through.
Don't worry about it. I'm excited.
I wanna
about
get to the
as
next
well.
one.
I know.
I think for me, this one's going to be a pint. It's good. It's clean. But as I said, it doesn't leave me licking my lips wanting more to go with it. So,
No, I agree with you.
for my rating on this one, I'm going to go with just a pint.
I'm with you. I like it, but it just doesn't check off all the boxes of like refreshing. I want to have another one for it.
Right. I understand that. How about you?
I'm gonna rate it a bomber. I don't like it for a Gose. Like if you said I want a Gose,
Right.
This isn't what I would pick. But I do really enjoy the lime character quite a bit. I do find it to be pretty refreshing. Definitely a lawnmower beer for me.
Mm-hmm.
I two of them, I'm pretty ready to rock. I mean, I can drink way more than two of them, but that's probably where I would end it before I switch to something else.
Right. I would also say for me on this style, this is a style I would want served really cold.
Yeah.
It's not a style I would want to warm up and serve it just below room temperature. Like I want these out of the cooler.
With most things that are sour, if they warm up too much, the sourness doesn't it doesn't stick around. The tartness isn't quite as crisp.
Yeah. Or to use a phrase I picked up from a video I saw earlier today, in New Zealand they refer to a cooler as a chili bin.
Do they really?
Which I think is way better. So I want these fresh out of the chili bin.
Yeah, like a 4-year-old. As soon as you said chili bin, I started to think of ways that I could use that in gross, weird sexual ways, but no, doesn't work.
How about you, Mark? Where's your rating on this one?
No, I'm with you. It's a pint for me.
Okay.
Yeah. It is good, but it doesn't make me want to come back for another.
Makes sense. The next one we got coming up is the Distill, which I know that Kevin is very excited for.
Yes.
Side by side, this one's probably a shade or two darker.
Yeah,
a little bit more, like light goldish than straw.
Yeah, I would put this one as the 3 spot. Maybe
Well,
3.5.
I think the Avery is like 3, and then the
So you think
Distill is
4?
like maybe 3.5.
Okay.
I think it's. I still think this is not quite yellow.
Really?
See, when I think yellow, I think
I don't know what you poured, but I mean, Kevin and I both poured the beach plum into.
I know you did.
Jello.
This is a 100% not the beach one.
Oh.
Yeah, I know which order I put it in. I've always had the big glass in the middle.
Yeah.
Because this is definitely the beach one.
The Avery one is a little hazier, and that might be why you think it's that much darker.
Okay.
I'm saying it's a lot lighter, the Avery one.
Yeah, but I still don't think this is quite a 4 SRM.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to have to go run to my room to go get my shirt, so I'm just going to agree with you guys.
I'm good with all of it. I can give a show of colors. It smells amazing.
So, yeah, the smell on the Distill.
Sam, I don't think it's quite a 4.
No, I can agree with Mark. I will concede to Mark, and I will concur with him.
The nose on this one is great.
Yeah, I love it. You can smell the
You can
tartness.
Smell the tartness. To me, I almost get like a pear kind of scent to it. And it smells like the beach.
Yeah,
It smells like the beach.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You get the salt in the aroma a lot. It sounds weird to say that about a beer. I know a lot of people who maybe aren't, haven't had one of these before. We're describing these things. You've got like, Jesus Christ, what do they do to the beer?
Yeah.
It all works together so well with tartness and the salt.
Yeah. I know green apple is a signature off flavor, but to understand the kind of tartness
Yeah, it's definitely.
that you have in here
Yeah.
is if you get a really tart Granny Smith apple, that's the kind of tartness that you're experiencing in this beer. For anyone who hasn't had it before, I think this one I think is a little more pear flavor, but it's that kind of intensity.
I need to eat more pears.
And we've come up with that a couple times now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like to me, I think that's just the best everyday equivalent of how sour this beer is.
Yeah, I agree. The first thing I thought of it after it finished, I finished swallowing was Granny Smith apple.
Yeah.
The how crisp it is, and then how tart it is. While you're drinking it and swallowing, you're like, I can't imagine having any more of this. And then it finishes with a little saltiness, and you're like, nah, I need some more of this.
Yeah.
Right.
And that just keeps rinse and repeat.
And next thing you know, you slam the whole can, and then you sit there and you go like, hey, I'm good. Like I'm ready up, and you're like, no, I'm grabbing another one. What? Like, and it just repeats itself till you're out of this beer.
Yeah, I like it because their perception is just so super tart that it is very refreshing to me, and that's why I love Newberg's Checkpoint Charlie, which I mean it's a Berliner Weiss, but it's just so aggressively sour that like I drink the can, I'm like, all right, I need another one. Like I'll easily drink my way through the 4-pack of those.
Yeah, I've seen you.
And those are the 16-ounce cans.
Right. Yeah. But it's only it's less than 4% alcohol, so it's okay.
Right.
This one I really like. The only thing that does get to you by the end is that the entire inside of your mouth is puckered. By the time you have like the second can, you're kind of like, all right, I feel like it's the inside of the mouth equivalent to like raisin fingers from being in the water too long. Like that's what happens to the inside of your mouth. But it's so worth it.
Yeah, it's true. Oh man, like when I think Gose, this is what I think. It's still not as sharp as the Westbrook.
No,
meaning like tartness wise, which maybe for some people may be a positive, and it's not a negative to me. They're different.
No, I think it's just a variation in creativity there.
Yeah, I could probably drink more of this in the sitting than the West for that reason.
So what would you go with as a rating for this one?
This is a growler, easy. It's almost a keg, but I don't know that I can have a keg of anything that's tart around and get through it quickly. But so it's gonna growler, 64 ounces of this, and I'm in.
How about you, Mark?
I'm with him. It's a growler.
Yeah, I'm going with the trifecta. Like this beer is, on a given day, I want to crush a ton of them. And
especially now that it's starting to feel like spring outside.
Oh, yeah, now that spring has finally arrived with Long Island.
Yeah. In May.
Yes. That we can start hanging out outside and start drinking these.
Yeah, this is this style is my lawnmower beer.
Right. So the last one we have is Blue Point's Beach Plum Gose, which looks like fruit juice. It's got almost like a a peach juice or juice coloration to it.
The beach plums definitely had a noticeable effect on the color.
I would say yours looks much darker than mine does.
I mean, you know what? I think that's you guys have the same glass too.
Yeah, I think maybe you have more
Maybe I got the bottom of the can. You got the top
Yeah,
of the can.
that's the exactly.
And mine looks like it's right in the middle.
Yeah, that's surprising. So I guess there's some
Variation in there. Yeah.
some
Stratification.
something settled a little bit, but
Aroma
it just
wise,
looks like fruit back there.
it does. Aroma wise, you're definitely getting the plum on the nose. That's the overriding thing. I don't know about anybody else. I don't detect any tartness on the nose, or maybe very, very little.
Yeah, I don't get a whole lot of tartness. I get a little bit of that fruit flavor.
Yeah, it kind of acts as like a background note to enhance the fruit aroma.
Yeah. Even flavor wise, this isn't super, super tart. And, to be fair, in the guidelines, there is a range of tartness.
Yeah, this is definitely the least tart of the three that we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
which is saying something because beach plums are highly acidic.
mhm.
So, and also, I know beach plums come in different colors, but generally what I think of is like the dark purple
Right.
color. So if that is in fact the type that they use for this, like it's got to be relatively low on the fruiting.
I usually think of peach
ratio.
plums as kind of like a really dark orange color. Am I thinking of the same fruit?
I know that they come in a few different colors, but
I feel like the ones that I saw out at Montauk a couple of years ago were all like really
see,
dark
'cause,
orange.
pretty much well, they do actually, they go through,
It might have just been the time.
in the ripening, yeah, they do
Okay.
go through a color progression. When they're ripe though, like, there are a couple different varieties, but like all the ones on Fire Island that I saw
Right.
when I was walking around,
Mhm.
the end of last summer, when ripe, they were all this like really dark, purpley, bluish
Okay.
color.
Yeah, there's some that are white. I know there's a variant that's white also.
Okay.
As I drink this, while you guys are talking, I decided to take a couple more sips and just see if it builds. And there's a tartness that builds on the side of my tongue a little bit. It becomes kind of more tart as you drink it. It's still not the steel tart.
No,
but it
there
gets
is a
there.
tartness there, but
Yeah.
it's nowhere near as aggressive as the steel.
Yeah, and I think that honestly, I think it would appeal to a broader audience. That level of tartness, which is good.
It's definitely more of an introductory.
It's a go. It's Fisher Price, my first Gose.
Yeah, to me there is a tartness that does build up. I'm getting it on the back sides of my tongue. I want there to be more of it. I like it. I kind of like the sweetness. I like that it's a little bit changed from the. I think it paired well after having the last one that is so tart.
Right.
Pardon me. To then going to this one, I think makes sense. But I feel like almost you could make a better one somewhere in the middle. Get a little more sweetness into the other one. Have a bit more, or just let this one sour a little bit more. Yes, I see the picture. Mark's pointing out that the picture on the can has dark purple plums
Yes.
in there.
And just looking at the can, I realized that they apparently also use locally harvested seaweed in this as well.
Oh,
To get their salt character.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Okay,
that's pretty cool.
interesting.
They also add some lemon peel in here in addition to the coriander.
All right. They're definitely making a more round flavor.
And it's also a 4.1% alcohol.
So I feel like Blue Point was definitely going for a much more rounder flavor, that they don't want that intense sour to it. They want a little bit of it, but they want to have a fuller body of flavor in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does
You know,
make sense.
the other ones kind of sing a little bit more of the one note really well, and this one's trying to have a bit more depth to it.
I think the beach plum was a good addition to the style. I'd agree that I would like to be a little bit more tart. That being said, I know at least definitely Mark and I are, we
Strip
yeah.
P&M from my teeth.
Yeah, if we want you to try to hit the acidity as low, try to as low as you can.
Right.
But I think that it's a pint for me because of the lack of tartness.
Right.
But I also think it's a really good idea and a really good beer to put out to market, in particular for craft beer drinkers who maybe go, "What's a Gose?"
Oh yeah.
If you didn't know what a Gose was at all, and someone gave you the distill with no like explanation of what you should expect,
Yeah, it's kind of a punch in the face.
you might think it really went bad. Like you really might think like this can't be what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I will second those impressions. I understand exactly what you're saying. I think they're right on point. Because it's not quite as tart as I would like it as well. I think this one's going to also fall into the pint for me. How about you, Mark?
I'm gonna go one step up from you guys and call it a bomber. It's definitely, I definitely would like some more tartness, but I also still enjoy it, and I'll drink the 2 glasses easily.
Yeah. No, these come in the tall boy, the 16-ounce cans, and
that's a good size.
That's like the spot on size, like, you know. And again, as you know, I always like to, you know, picture when and where I'm drinking this beer, and this is a hangout beach barbecue beer. You know, hang out on the beach with a bunch of these in the chili boy, it'd be good. What's that?
I said, how convenient, it's in a can.
Yes, exactly.
No need to worry about those glass rolls.
Right, which is smart.
Yeah.
Especially now with how much time you can spend on the beach. It's a good move.
I always like the idea of 16-ounce cans when you have a beer that's this low ABV.
Yeah.
Because you can drink 16 ounces of this without a problem. It just allows you to carry less shit. You know, instead of carrying 2 more cans, I have a 4-pack. So I guess now it's on to the Crucible of Doom, huh?
It is.
Oh boy. I have headphones on, so I'm sorry for everyone. Whoa. There's a lot of synergy happening there.
All right, so our first category in the Crucible of Doom is most interesting, correct?
Well, best tasting.
Best
we can
tasting.
start with most interesting.
Let's start with most interesting.
Most interesting. For me, the most interesting one is going to be the Blue Point. I like that peach flavor to it. I think it has the most depth of character across the 3 that we tried today. And having those extra adjuncts in there gives it a little bit more variety. So to me, it's a little more interesting than the other 2.
I agree with you. It's definitely got the most going on. The steel is good, but it's one note, as is the Avery. The Avery is just kind of one note. It's got the lime in there, but it's still just
one
kind
note
of
with
one
lime.
note. Right. The beach plum has a little bit going on there, like you said, because it's got the lemon peel in addition to the coriander, and also you get some savoriness from the seaweed.
Huh.
What do you think, Justin?
I'm trying to figure this out.
I can see you. When you agree with us, you usually hop in pretty quick. But if not, there's a thought.
Because on paper, I would say, just by looking at it, the beach plum is the most interesting because of exactly what you said. There's definitely a lot of flavors going on. They're a little muddled for me, which I was leaning towards saying that the Avery was the most interesting because of that lime note.
Okay.
So I kind of just had them both side by side, and I got swayed over. The beach plum Gose is definitely a more interesting version of a Gose. I'm getting more of the lemon peel now that's warmed up a little bit.
Right.
Definitely a little more complex. So yes, so we can have a full 3-way.
High fives.
And the beach plum Gose is the most interesting.
All right.
Best tasting, I'm very interested in. So, Mark, best tasting, go.
Best tasting, I'm definitely going with the steel. Because I like the aggressive sourness, and that it really just tickles me the right way there.
Yeah, I'm gonna second that. The steel one, for me, out of these 3 is the best tasting. I really like the one.
Yeah, it's runaway. That one's not even close. The steel is, and again, obviously it's based on our preference, and it's our preference is to
don't agree,
attack our mouths.
Fight me.
Yeah, bring it, bitch.
Preferably verbally or in an email. Or
honestly, at this point,
feel free to start a flame war with us on Twitter or something.
Bring the chest.
Yeah, even if you see me and you want to stab me over it, I'll know someone listened.
There you go. See, but that's not true because people find Justin. No one has ever mentioned it to me, so that's why I feel a little left out. But I know that both of you guys have gotten like, oh, you guys do that podcast? Yeah, I recognize the voice.
Yeah,
that is not happening. and make me a little sick.
Yeah, well, it's, when you sound like a fucking dying walrus, I guess people recognize what you sound like. I think that the last part of the Crucible of Doom, closest to style in this particular case, is sort of lopsided, so to speak, considering two of these are clearly not done to style.
Yeah, I can understand that. Can we refresh? Could you just remind me what the style is again?
So the overall impression is a highly carbonated, tart, and fruity wheat ale with a restrained coriander and sea salt character and low bitterness. Very refreshing with bright flavors and high attenuation. So the aroma should be light to moderately fruity with maybe some stone fruit. Light sourness, slightly sharp, noticeable coriander, and which can have a lemony quality to it. Light bready, doughy, yeasty character like uncooked sourdough bread. The acidity and the coriander can give a bright, lively impression. Salt may be perceived as a very light, clean sea breeze character, or just in general freshness, if noticeable at all.
I'm bouncing back and forth between the Avery and the Steel for this one, because I feel like when you look at those characteristics, the Avery one does hit a lot of those notes.
To me, the addition of the wine excludes it immediately.
No, I mean it would just put it into a fruit beer.
Right.
So, but it's not to this style.
No, but I mean more than the fact that Distill and Westbrook make unadulterated Goses is the rarity.
I agree with you.
You know, most craft brewers are putting some kind of fruit in there.
Right.
For the ladies.
And that's that. And to take a page out of our buddy Paul Compton's book, this is definitely, it's a little bit of a stretch, in particular to Steel, but in general, I think a white wine drinker type of beer, kind of, sort of, especially maybe the Beach Plum. Let's put it this way: if your wife doesn't like beer, this isn't beer. It's beer, but it's not what everyone thinks of a beer. So we could potentially flip a palate with it in an odd instance.
I'm trying to work at the end of the day into something here, but I can't. So I'll just say that.
I can say that Paul was very responsive on Instagram over my hashtag flipping palettes.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
He's like, oh man, I love it.
No, I understand, Justin, your statement that the fruit adjunct would exclude it from the category in that sense. But taking a not quite so literal interpretation of it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. You got to look at it like, okay, does it hit the mark for the base style, and can you taste the?
I don't think it hits the mark for the base style because I don't get any salt.
Yeah, let me go back, see if I can.
All right, let me. So if we reread the flavor here, it's moderate to strain but noticeable sourness, like a squeeze of lemon and iced tea. Moderate.
All right, pause there for a second. I will say that both of them hit that. That first statement, I think both of them hit that. At least moderate sourness with a little hint of lemon.
Okay.
Moderate bready / doughy malt flavor.
Yeah.
Light to moderate fruity character, palm fruit, stone fruit, or lemons. Light to moderate salt character up to the threshold of taste. The salt should be noticeable, particularly in the initial taste, but not taste overly salty.
So in that sense, I will say that the Avery did not have that.
Yeah.
Because when we first said it, I wanted more of that salt. So if going through that, then I'm going to go with the Distill being the best example of style to me.
I can get behind that. The Distill is slightly above the alcohol range for the style, but as the BJCP often reminds, these are guidelines and not specifications.
Right. Exactly. Like if we took a sip and we were like, damn, that's hot. Like that would be different.
Like, oh my god, it's 13% off.
Yeah, how did you make it Imperial Gose?
Well, I mean, in Imperial Gose,
That would be the
Imperial
Imperial
Gose
Gose.
is like 7% alcohol, so.
Yeah. So that sounds like we picked the Distill as their as both the best tasting and closest to style.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that the Avery is a bad beer. I do think that if we had it a little bit colder, it would have definitely helped it out a little bit. But as in a lot of judging, you want to make sure it at least warms up a little because not that we're looking for all flavors in these commercial styles necessarily, but in general, a beer's flaws will come out as it gets a little warmer.
I will say, as it warmed up, I enjoyed them less.
Oh, definitely.
It's over the course of the episode. For me, it's a cold drinking style.
Right out of the chili box.
Right out of the chili box.
All right. Well, I did not, but we have Mark and Kevin have done a mixture,
and this is what I want. This is what I want to sweeten it. I want that little bit of extra sweetness from the beach plum, and still have a significant tartness like we get from the Distill.
Yeah, and I also get the, that initial salt impression on the tongue comes through now.
Yeah. So, here, I'm even going to pass it over to Justin because I want him to try
Let me see what we got going on.
But I think that, to me, and this is the kind of Gose that you would get from a lot of, what?
That's fucking crazy.
Right?
It really is.
I feel like this is the kind of Gose you would get at a lot of craft breweries that,
Yeah.
hey, we made a Gose, we fruited it up a little bit to make it a little more accessible, but it's still distinctly sour, still got that little saltiness in there. I just worked out pretty damn good.
I feel like it went through the progression. It was like, okay, we got beach plum, and I think the line from the Avery lifted the beach plum up a little bit, and then you still got the tartness from the Distill, but in a slightly restrained way. So it was pretty good.
I think this one might be I might have enjoyed this in the mix the most out of the three, but the Distill really is just fantastic. I love finding those and drinking them.
We have collaborations now in every single style profile because we just mixed the three together. We're doing our own collaborations.
There you go.
Blend of the glass.
It's better than making up relationships for people on fan fiction websites.
Yes,
Shipping.
it definitely is.
Sure.
So it's
So that's
pretty.
essentially what we're doing
It is.
in our values.
It's pretty apropos that we had the Blue Point Beach Plum Gose here because Mark and I recently received a pretty big honor. We talked about kettle souring, and we kettle soured Lichtenhanger. That was after the LIBME Pro-Am competition, and it was picked to get brewed at Blue Point, 22.5 barrels of it.
Yeah, I believe so.
Woo!
So it's pretty dope.
So Mark, tell everyone a little bit about a Lichtenhanger that we named Lich King because I could not spell it in a fucking text.
You couldn't
so I just
remember,
kept calling it Lich King.
Yeah, so if you didn't join us at the Blue Point Cast Festival,
Which I'm sad to say was not there.
yeah, we were serving it with LIBME at the event, which is where we actually found out that we had won. And so, I mean, it was great because I thought I was going to have to wait another week and a half for the club meeting to find out.
Right. So remind us what a Lichtenhanger is.
So a Lichtenhanger is another northern German style that had pretty much died out.
Right.
I feel like it's still pretty dead. I mean, we might have made
I
one,
had
but
never heard of it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's at least there's been enough interest in it where the BJCP added the description in the 2015 guideline update. And it is, in a nutshell, it is a smoked Berliner
Okay. So you smoke the malt, a portion of the malt as you would make on Berliner Weiss, or you substitute it, or
Right. So we in our beer we used roughly 46% of the entire weight of the malt was smoked. Either
that's a lot, isn't it? 46%.
Yeah, it is
that's
a lot.
shitload, yeah.
Either we had a couple of pounds of rye that was smoked over oak, and then
You guys put rye in a beer? Never.
No.
I could not have believed
And
that.
it's the same rye we used for the Roggen beer that was made for the NanoCast Festival. We had some left over because we might have oversmoked the fuck out of that. But
nah.
nah.
And then the rest of the smoked malt balance was made up with the cherry smoked barley.
Okay. Awesome. So, as Pro-Am LIBME champions, does that get submitted anywhere else now?
It has a 1 in 4 chance. There are 4 Pro-Am competitions with Blue Point and LIBME.
Okay.
One of those 4 beers will be selected by Blue Point, whichever one they think will do the best to get submitted to JABF.
Okay.
For the Pro-Am.
So it's just
that'd be like Muscat Love when Muscat Love won the Pro-Am.
Right. So this is the first of the 4 for the year then?
No, this is the last one.
Last one.
All right. Let's knock on wood for recency bias. All right. And, you know.
It's. I mean, we also. I'm hopeful that we also have kind of a leg up, being that it is a very interesting beer style. Like, you know, and actually, Chris Dolan, who's one of the brewers at Blue Point and also a LABME club member, at some point in the past actually was able to brew a Lichtenhainer at Blue Point.
Really?
Yeah.
So they've done those styles before.
They've done it before.
That's cool.
The name of it was Wayne Grotzky, I think.
Yes, it was.
And you know, he was telling me about this, so I went on Untapped and like found the beer to go through the reviews, and you know, the impression that I got from him was that it wasn't really all that well rated overall, but it definitely had like more than 3.5 stars.
Okay.
But some of the comments that people put in their ratings were pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it tastes like hot dogs, but I can't stop drinking it, and things like that.
Yeah, it's apparently become known as the hot dog beer.
Right.
But, you know, to describe how it tastes, it's basically equal parts tart, kind of like the Gose we had today, but not quite as tart, and smoky. And when we first talked about doing it, I thought for sure one of them would win. One of them, it would either be tart and then some smoke, or be a smoke bomb and then have some tartness.
Yeah.
I'm personally extremely impressed at how balanced those two things are in this beer, especially being that it has, you know, almost 50% smoked malt.
Yeah, and it plays, the two flavors really like kind of like battle out on your palate. So like the impression kind of like moves back and forth on the spectrum from one to the other.
I will agree with that. I will also say that I think this is the same beer that I'm thinking of, that when I first tried it, I was like, oh boy, way too much smoke in there. But then it had chilled out a little bit towards the last time we had tried it. Or am I confusing?
I think you might be thinking of one of his smoke porters.
My smoke porter, I think, is the only thing.
I'm thinking of the Roggen beer.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, from the Gas Festival to the Growler.
Yeah. That was when it had chilled out, and I was like, oh, I like this a lot more when it chilled out at the Cast Festival. Unfortunately, that one just wasn't my thing.
That wasn't my thing either. I fucking made it, so.
But I'm incredibly excited for you guys. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be a great experience.
It's a huge, giant ostrich feather in your caps.
22 and a half barrels is all I keep thinking to myself.
How many swimming pools is that?
I don't know. It's way.
We said we never do that again.
Somebody out there's having PTSD. They said swimming pools. That's fucking it. Delete. iTunes. Delete.
There's our 2 listeners.
Right. So, yeah, look for that. We'll tell you more details when we have them. But yes, it was a great honor, and I can't appreciate it anymore.
So, as we always do with the style spotlights, please go out, try a Gose, tell us what you think about it.
Or if you've already got a favorite, let us know what it is.
Yeah, tell us about it so that we can go out and try it, because we're always looking for another great example, especially of this.
And if you think I'm wrong about the Southern Cherry Gose,
then you should stop listening. Just don't even tell us. Just delete the feed, because I can't talk to you.
All right. Cheers. I think that's.
I'm getting really fucking aggressive now, listeners.
Okay. Cheers, everybody.
fight me, bro.
Cheers.
If you enjoyed Beertastic Voyage, please be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to review and rate us. The guys can be found online at www.beertasticvoyage.com, on Facebook at www.facebook.com/beertasticvoyage, and Twitter and Instagram at Beertastic Show, or send them a good old-fashioned email at beertasticvoyage@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers for local beers.